It's May 12th, 2017. At a hospital in London, a young doctor is trying to wake a patient from surgery when suddenly chaos erupts around him. Computer screens everywhere flash red. Files have been encrypted, surgeries canceled, and ambulances are being turned away. And this isn't just happening here. It's happening at hospitals across Britain and to businesses in over 150 countries, all at once. Meanwhile, in a bedroom on the English coast, a 23-year-old named Marcus Hutchins is about to become an accidental hero. He spots something weird in the malware's code, a hidden kill switch. For just $10.69, he registers a web domain and stops the attack dead in its tracks.
It was the biggest hack attack the world has ever seen, but attempts to stop the virus spreading appear to be working.
He just saved countless lives and billions of dollars for no more than the cost of a couple coffees. 3 months later, Hutchins is in Vegas attending a hacking conference, and he's treated like royalty, partying in mansions, racing Lamborghinis. Then one morning, he steps outside to grab his DoorDash order, only to be met with a number of FBI agents surrounding him. Although he successfully thwarted one of the largest cyber attacks to date, the FBI came to arrest him for creating a banking malware years before all this went down. This is our new reality. The line between digital hero and villain has never been blurrier, and major corporations aren't just taking notice of this, they're actively hiring these hackers as digital mercenaries. The FBI's most wanted hacker now runs a cybersecurity firm. A guy who got sued by Sony works at Facebook. Teenagers who create viruses get job offers within days. As our lives become increasingly more digital, the damage that hackers can inflict grows alongside it. Companies have figured out that sometimes to prevent a crime, you need to think like a criminal. Or, better yet, hire one. But if you play with fire, there's always the chance you could get burned. So who are these digital hired guns? In the industry, they're typically categorized by hats, a system straight out of old Western movies, where good guys wore white hats and bad guys wore black. White hat hackers are the good guys. They're ethical security professionals who hack with permission, follow rules, and report problems so they can be fixed. When Apple pays $100,000 to someone who finds a serious security flaw, they're working with white hats. Black hat hackers, they're the criminals. They break into systems without permission to steal data, deploy ransomware, or cause havoc. They do it for money, revenge, or sometimes just because they can. The people behind that hospital attack were classic black hats. Then there's this interesting murky middle ground, gray hat hackers. Think of them as digital vigilantes. They operate without explicit permission, but often with good intentions. They might find and report security holes, but their methods wouldn't exactly hold up in court. Yet all three of these types have ended up on corporate payrolls. Most companies stick with the white hats for legitimate security work, but some venture into grayer territory for things like gaining competitive intelligence. And then there are cases where they bring in reformed black hats, a high-stakes gamble that happens more often than you'd think. And nobody embodies this bizarre career path better than Kevin Mitnick. Back in the early 90s, Mitnick was basically a digital boogeyman. The feds were after him, so he was on the run. For years, he stayed one step ahead using fake IDs and an incredible technical skill set. He broke into systems at IBM, Motorola, even the US National Defense Warning System. This guy is the stuff of tech nightmares. When they finally caught him in 1995, authorities were so scared of what he could do that they just threw him in solitary confinement. And get this, prosecutors actually claimed he could launch nuclear missiles just by whistling tones into a phone. That's how feared the legendary Kevin Mitnick had become. After 5 years in prison, Mitnick stepped back into the world. You'd expect companies to run the other way, right? But instead, they couldn't hire him fast enough. The skills that made him America's most wanted hacker now made him incredibly valuable as a consultant. The ultimate plot twist came when Stu Showerman, who founded the cybersecurity company KnowBe4, didn't just hire Mitnick, he gave him half the company. It was the best decision I ever made, Showerman later said. What looked like career suicide turned into a business masterclass. Mitnick wasn't just an employee, he became the centerpiece of their entire marketing strategy. His notorious reputation actually helped attract clients. Today, KnowBe4 runs the world's largest integrated security awareness training and simulated phishing platform, all built on the expertise of a guy who once couldn't be trusted with a prison payphone. And while Mitnick's story played out over decades, Marcus Hutchins' rise and fall happened in just months. See, this guy, early 20s, lives in rural England, surfs the freezing Atlantic by day, and by night he's hunting malware, tracking massive zombie computer networks for a cybersecurity company. But his colleagues don't know that years earlier, when he was just a teenager, he created banking malware called Kronos that stole people's financial info. Then comes that fateful day in May 2017. The WannaCry ransomware explodes globally.
Right now, a crippling cyber attack has businesses around the world on high alert. The ransomware, known as WannaCry.
I want to move on to the other developing story this morning, the global cyber attack.
The National Security Agency developed this software, and it's now being used by criminals around the world to demand ransom.
Security experts say this is one of the worst and most widespread pieces of malware they've ever seen.
And while tracking the outbreak from his bedroom, Hutchins notices something strange in the code. The malware checks if a specific web domain exists before encrypting files. On a hunch, he registered the domain for $10. And just like that, he found the kill switch. His simple action stops the attack cold. And overnight, this unknown hacker becomes a reluctant celebrity. Journalists want interviews, conference organizers want him to speak. He's suddenly the hero who saved the internet. A few months later, the FBI comes knocking. The arrest happens, and the shocking revelation of his past occurs. It's ironic to be arrested for creating a virus just after saving the world from one. But instead of being blacklisted or outcast, the hacker community actually rallies behind him. Complete strangers help with his legal defense. A couple he's never even met uses their house as down payment to bail him out of jail. And the judge, he basically says, look, we need people with your skills, and sentences him to time served. Today, Hutchins works legitimately in cybersecurity. And his story is like a roadmap showing how quickly someone can go from nobody to a hero to a villain and back to a hero again, especially in today's digital age. Because these aren't just isolated cases. Across the tech industry, there's this interesting pattern of young hackers actually being awarded for the crimes they commit. George Hotz, at 17, he became the first person to unlock an iPhone, breaking Apple's stranglehold on which carriers you could use. Later, he cracked Sony's unhackable PlayStation 3. Of course, Sony sued him, but just months after settling, Facebook swooped in and hired him. Ashley Towns, he created the first iPhone worm in 2009 when he was just 21. His virus set people's wallpapers to Rick Astley. This was back when rickrolling was still a thing. And within literal days, an iPhone development team in Sydney brought him on. Chris Putnam hacked Facebook profiles to make them look like MySpace pages. Instead of getting sued, he actually got a message from Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskovitz saying, hey, this was funny, but it looks like you're deleting users' contact info when the worm replicates. That's not so cool. Next thing you know, Putnam's got a job offer. The message is strikingly clear. If you show enough skill breaking into systems, the very companies that you're targeting might actually offer you a desk and a paycheck. But why are companies even taking this risk? Simple. They're scared. And they should be. That WannaCry attack caused somewhere between $4 and $8 billion in damages worldwide in just a few days. The Mirai botnet attack in 2016 took down major websites like Netflix and Twitter across the eastern US. And it wasn't some sophisticated government agency behind it, just regular hackers who figured out how to hijack everyday devices like security cameras and routers. Remember 2021 when Colonial Pipeline got hit with ransomware, causing gas shortages up and down the East Coast? That was the work of a small group of individuals thousands of miles away. See, one person with the right skills can shut down hospitals, mess with power grids, or steal millions of identities from anywhere with internet access. So it's no wonder that those who can afford it, like major corporations, want these heavy hitters playing for their teams. These digital weapons that once required government resources are now in the hands of individuals. And the damage isn't just financial, as those hospitals in Britain learned the hard way. Literal lives are hanging in the balance. So when a company hires a former black hat, yes, they are taking a huge risk. It's like inviting someone with nuclear launch codes into your organization. How do you know they've really changed? How can you be sure they're only going to use their powers for good? But here's the thing. Not having these skill sets on their side seems even riskier now. Companies try to manage the danger with strict controls. limited access, constant monitoring, legal agreements with teeth. But let's be real, they're still playing with fire. The question isn't whether to take the risk, it's how much risk to take, and whether you can keep it contained. Think about two types of professionals that companies rely on for protection: lawyers and hackers. Both guard corporate interests, just in totally different areas. Lawyers have always been essential. They protect companies from legal threats using their specialized knowledge of laws and regulations. They make contracts, fight lawsuits, navigate compliance issues. Every company needs them. Security professionals with hacking skills, they protect companies from digital threats too, using their specialized knowledge of systems and vulnerabilities. They find weaknesses, build defenses, and respond when things go wrong. For many modern companies, especially in tech, skilled security people might actually be more valuable than lawyers. A major data breach can do significantly more financial damage than most lawsuits, not to mention what it does to your reputation. Both work within complex systems of rules, lawyers with legal codes and hackers with computer systems. Both are hunting for vulnerabilities, lawyers looking for loopholes. Hackers find weaknesses in security, and both have specialized knowledge that most executives just don't understand. But the big difference is regulation. See, the legal profession has centuries of established ethical standards, licensing, and oversight. The hacking world is still figuring that out. Relatively speaking, it's a brand new field, and they're operating in a space where what's technically possible is outpacing what's legally defined. It's an incredibly interesting situation that we really only see in movie plots. The supposed bad guy is so good at being evil that the victims actually want to hire him for protection. If we're being honest, I think it's generally a good thing that's happening. Ethical or not, that type of skill set and the ability to apply it so effectively is an extremely rare trait. And though most of them have an extensive criminal history, they're simply the best fit for the job. And at the end of the day, there's just a bit more leverage for the hackers in these situations. Everyone is aware of the level of damage they're capable of. In theory, they could turn heel at any given moment. So if you're stupid enough to try and cross them, good luck.